happy to be back here today with a new, easy, groovy exercise to practice your octaves on the bass. So this is something that I've seen many people struggle with, and it's a shame because octaves is one of the most used interval that we always play on the bass, especially when we want to really have something groovy but not stray away from the root note. So octaves have a shape just like every other interval on the bass. So we'll just start with knowing how to play an octave everywhere on the bass. So let's say that we start with the C note over here, the 3rd fret on your 2nd string. We'll start with the C, and you will find the octave 2 strings away, meaning we're going to skip the D string, go to the G string, and you will be 2 frets higher, pitch-wise, higher on the fretboard, right? So you can hear that this is a C, this is a C, just an octave higher, right? So this might already be a familiar sound to your ears because so many bass lines use octaves frequently, especially when we're talking about disco was like the height of using octaves, but we can also hear it a lot in pop and rock. So this is our basic octave. Now you can take this and really go everywhere you want on the bass with this. I can go here, D, E flat, E, and you can see that it's already something that's creating a very interesting melody with, right? Of course, when we play octaves using this shape, you want to stay on your A string so that you can use your G string for the higher octave, or you can use your E string, where you can use your D string for that shape for the higher octave. Okay, so now that we know how to play octave on the bass using our left hand, knowing where we're going on the fretboard and what we're doing on the fretboard, the tricky part of it is playing with your right hand, right? This is what I've seen people struggle again and again. So let's review what we're doing on the right hand for a second. So we're playing with these 2 fingers, right? With the pointer finger and the middle finger. And this is how we usually play bass, finger style, and so on. When we're playing the octaves, it's a bit more challenging because we have that string in between, which makes it a little bit more difficult to alternate between those fingers. Now, this is something that I've come up with that feels really good to me. Of course, any person is different. This might work for you, this might not, but this is my 2 cents about how to play this in an accurate, punchy way. So what's the secret? It's really about seeing what is most comfortable for your hand. What I discovered is that when I often play, if I use this finger, the pointer finger, it would be easier for me to use the middle finger going up to the octave. So we'll try to do it slowly. Many times we won't just play the straight octaves, but we'll play some little bits of 16th note in them, or 8th notes, depending on what's our time signature and what's our tempo. So for example, this is one thing that you can start working on. That's the most basic. If you don't have a lot of experience playing octaves, I would suggest starting with this. Just take a metronome and play to the quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, just to get used to it. Now, if you want to start practicing towards our exercise, what I would do is actually only get this octave at one point in the bar. So I'm going to put our metronome at 70 BPM. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to play 3 quarter notes on the lower note of the octave, and then the 4th quarter note is going to be on the higher one. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. Now this works out because our fingers work in a way that we have our middle finger going up to that octave. So this is a great thing to start practicing. You can start at 7 BPM. If you need it lower, go lower. Okay, so back to our exercise. We're gonna split this exercise to part A and part B. If you're a beginner, part A would be great for you. I would say stick to that in the beginning, try to learn that. If that works out, great. You can play it with the play along, and then don't worry about part B for now. Part B is a little bit more advanced, so make sure that you learn how to play A before you start playing B. And if you can't play B for now, don't worry about it. Keep on working your chops, keep on practicing those octaves, and you'll get to part B very soon. So part A. I'm essentially doing what I told you before. I want to bring in those octaves in, but if you just start playing octaves nonstop, it's like starting to run and then going straight for the sprint. We want to be able to bring that in lightly into our playing so that we can practice this without getting fatigued too fast. So this is what I've done in this exercise. So in this exercise, we're going to go to A, and we'll start with, right? Again, similar to what I showed you before. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we're using eighth notes here instead of just quarter notes. We have 3 quarter notes leading to 2 eighth notes, and those 2 last eighth notes have the lower note in the octave and the higher note in the octave. Something that not all bass players agree on: when I get from the 3rd quarter note to the 4th downbeat, I keep my pointer finger. Why? Because I want to have that pointer finger ready for when I am playing those 2 eighth notes. So I'll have, let's call it first finger and second finger just to make it easier, right? 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. So this is the first part of the A part. And then we continue going from G, chromatically going up to A. One, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2, and 3, and 4, and 1. Right, so I'm using those eighth notes coming in chromatically, and this is like the money time where I really get to play this and practice these octaves while I get some rest when I get back to the A. Okay, so going into that second part, it's a little bit more complicated, so I'm just gonna break it down easily. So it's a bit more 16 note based. So we have 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a... Let's just stay here for a second, okay? Again, 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3. So what I'm doing here is I'm using octaves in a bit of a different way. I'm going to this E over here, then going to 2 little E's right at the bottom in my first string, and to that G. 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4. Then we have a chromatic approach going from the D to the D sharp to the E. So what we have here is, again, and a 4E, 3E and a 4E. And then you can loop that. You can only use that if you want. What I added here a little bit in the end is I added a little bit of a pull coming in from the A, slightly going to the B flat. And this is basically what you hear in the end there. And that's pretty much the whole thing. 3E and a 4E and a... Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this exercise and hopefully found this helpful. If you want to download the play along, feel free to go to the link right here in the info and go ahead and purchase and download this with and without the bass. You can also stay here after this and practice it on the video itself as usual. Let me know if you have any questions. What did you think about this little exercise? And if there's anything else I can help you with learning more techniques on the bass. Thanks again for watching. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you very soon.